gang, gang. Hey, nothing but love and respect. You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family.
Me and my fans, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together till the grave. It's a gang till forever and a day, man. Me and my fans, we don't even trip in the hate. We the I don't give a fuck in our veins, man. Me and my fans,
we the hangover gang. Gang, 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 gang.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm Meteorologist Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part? This upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance. Only at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey there, Meteorologist Tuttle back with you again. It is Monday evening here about 9:40, so thanks for joining me. We're going to be talking about the severe weather risk that is coming back into the southern plains here as we head on into our Tuesday evening and then overnight Tuesday night. So you've gone to the right place. We're going to tell you exactly the science behind it, whether or not it's something to worry about, if it's going to be a big event, small event, all that kind of stuff. So thanks again. Tell you what, make sure you like and share this video. Tell your friends and family about AT's weather. And that way they can get acclimated as we go through our spring season here across Oklahoma and surrounding states. Okay, so let me see here. Make sure I got some things rolling, rocking and rolling. Okay, good deal. So we are live on Rumble. So that's the new platform I'm streaming on in addition to YouTube. So if you'd like to watch from Rumble, you can also do that as well. I'm also broadcasting on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And then eventually probably Gab TV once they get going. I see you guys out there on YouTube leaving your comments, so thanks for checking in as always. And I've got the lovely Jody moderating the comments and answering your questions and helping you out when you do need some direction on certain things that you need help with, such as my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It's free. Download it from Apple, Google Play. It'll give you up to about 15 minutes extra lead time on developing tornadoes, which is a lot of time to seek shelter from those little pesky dudes. But I will tell you what else you need. See this? This right here? Everybody needs a Midland weather radio. I'm going to post the link in the Facebook description, and I think I'll even do it on YouTube. So this is where you can get a little bit of a discount on that through my Amazon store. So if you want to pick up a no weather radio you can program, make sure you pick one up, and that way you have a redundant ability here to get your severe weather. Because yes, my app is good, other sources are good, it's just sometimes things do fail, or you kind of screw up and you press the wrong button, for example. So when that happens, you need another backup. So because there are things such as Wi-Fi goes down, or your cell service could go down, your do not disturb may be on, you don't have it set to override. There's a lot of things that can happen, so it's always good to have a no weather radio as a backup that will alert you as well. Okay, I think all that is said and done, and I put the description in YouTube as well where you guys can pick up a no weather radio there. And then also, let's see, can I do that on Twitter? Let me see. No, it just adds another tweet. Twitter is so not broadcast friendly. I don't know why I even use that, but you guys are out there watching, so right now I'm going to use it. Eventually I may steer you to these other platforms, which is a little easier for me to manage. Okay, so out there currently, we've had just a little bit of moisture work in today. You may have seen some of the high-level clouds. You can also see it's quite a bit warmer. I mean, I'm at 73, almost 74 degrees here in my backyard with a southeast wind. And no rainfall, of course, yet, but that will change. By about this time tomorrow out across western Oklahoma, we're going to start to see some thunderstorms. So here is a look at the severe weather potential out here across Oklahoma. You can see the yellow is for a slight risk, which goes from Enid to just about Weatherford down to just east of Altus and covers all of central and eastern Oklahoma. Western Oklahoma, not a big deal for you guys with this event. You're just going to be too far west. When you look at eastern Oklahoma, also a threat of severe weather overnight on Tuesday. When you look at the timing of this, from about late evening, so probably at 8, 9 o'clock, we should start to see some thunderstorms kind of bubble up around here on the dry line. Then these storms will start to move their way to the eastern direction and make their way into the I-35 corridor, probably as we headed to about the 10 to 11 o'clock hour from the west. Now, as we look at the tornado potential, it is there. Now, this isn't our classic supercellular type tornado potential. This is more of our, we call it a QLCS, and I had somebody ask me that on YouTube earlier today. What is a QLCS? It stands for Quasi-Linear Convective System. That's a mouthful, right? So what it means is a squall line type tornado genesis, which means on the leading edge of a line. So what that means is they're a lot weaker typically, and they don't last as long. But that also can mean they're harder to find because they're so much smaller and weaker in magnitude. So the radars don't always get them if they're not positioned correctly. All right, so here's a look at the instability, which is what CAPE is, and then we overlay with the shear. Now what you want to focus with on this map is, this is by 10 o'clock tomorrow evening, is the greater the direction like this, you see on the map with those little arrows, the better the shear. So in other words, the better the chance of potential tornadoes, for example. Well, that occurs down here in northern Texas, parts of southern and eastern Oklahoma during the early part of the evening. Now, as we head into the midnight hour, and therefore, these shear values start to kind of do this, which means less and less rotation characteristics within the thunderstorms themselves, which is why we have less of a supercellular type threat for tornadoes and more just the QLCS type. All right, so here's a look at the best parameters for tornadoes. Again, if you kind of put it all into a basket and you combine them from around 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock is tomorrow evening out in west central Oklahoma, western Oklahoma, and then through central Oklahoma through about midnight, and then through southeast Oklahoma during the overnight hours, so around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then that moves into western Arkansas by Wednesday morning, and then to eastern Texas as well. But these are very low scaled indices, so again, not a very big threat, which is good. Now, we do look at the dew point map, which indicates where our dry line is going to be. So you can see how these arrows come together right out here in western Oklahoma. This is also where you have the little bit of the green here, which is moisture in the form of dew point values that we register. These are unfortunately, or fortunately, how you like to look at them, in the low to mid 50s. That's not a lot of moisture. Moisture's deeper out here across I-35, where you have dew points in the mid 60s. Now, for tornadoes, you want mid 60s. You don't want lower 50s. So that means these storms out here in western Oklahoma, for the most part, just should be some glorified hail producers as they get going. Now, there is a lot of lift in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. This is the look at the 700 millibar pattern. So it does show you where the dry line should light up like a Christmas tree. We see all these bright colors. That extends on down into western Texas by 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. And again, our show here in Oklahoma, probably about an hour or so after that, so right after sunset. As we head into the big picture here for the time, I want to show you that first before we zoom into Oklahoma itself. You can see how these storms will erupt here. This is about, as we said, around 8 o'clock or so. You start to see some thunderstorms develop, stretching from northern Oklahoma through the Oklahoma City metro area through 10 o'clock out south and west toward Lawton, then back into western Texas. As we kind of put this into motion, here's midnight. You can still see that lined up just west of Tulsa, through the metro of Oklahoma City, down to just west of Dallas, around 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. And then those storms will continue to move to the east, through eastern Oklahoma, and through north Texas, all the way down to central Texas by daybreak tomorrow, then finally moving into Arkansas. You can see a very thin line here. This little very thin reflectivity gradient equals a squall line. So that's what a squall line would look like all the way up north and south. It is a very long line of thunderstorms, and along these leading edges, that's where you can get these little QLCS baby tornadoes that sometimes come up. All right, so there's the mid-morning hours. As it moves its way into eastern Arkansas, it should actually intensify. And these storms will intensify tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon as they work their way out of Arkansas into the states to the east of there in the southeastern Louisiana. All right, so let's go to the zoomed-in view of that big picture. We'll show you a little close-up view of how things may progress here in Oklahoma proper. Let's see, there's 8 o'clock 9 o'clock, see some showers, thunderstorms bubbling up out here in west central Oklahoma. Now this model is just about an hour or two slower than the other one. This one's probably a little bit more accurate. As we head into the 11 o'clock hour, let me show you something here. If I were to plot a forecast sounding for the Oklahoma City metro area, we still have a pretty decent cap right here. This is an inversion, which may mean that those storms that do come in will be elevated in nature. They haven't really tapped in to the boundary layer with a lot more moisture yet. So when they come into this atmosphere just west of the metro, they're still going to be a little elevated, which probably still means more of just a hail threat with those before they finally tap into some deep moisture here around Oklahoma City and then points east. So here's midnight running right up and down I-35. As headed to 1 o'clock in the morning, it starts to press east of that boundary, moving into Tulsa area by around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, and then down through McAllister and Sherman and Paris. And you can see this line kind of intensifies just a little bit here across eastern Oklahoma, where there's a little bit better lift and a little bit better moisture at that point in time. So that would be the squalene that moves through the state overnight, pretty much moving out of the state by 6 o'clock in the morning. Now we look at helicity tracks, which is the spinning of the particular storm, so whether or not they can produce some damaging wind, maybe a little bit of hail, and yes, potential tornado. We do find a little bit of a cluster up here in this region, a little cluster here across the Oklahoma City region, and also down here in southeast Oklahoma. So what that means is there's a large area where we have to watch for those little spin-ups. Now, we looked at the wind potential. Some of these thunderstorms will produce some wind gusts in the Brown, which is up around 60 to 65 miles per hour. So it's not a big widespread damaging wind event. It's just kind of pockets of wind here. Now, a lot of times when that squalene does get more mature, you will see more widespread wind if it starts to bow out. And what I mean by bow out is if the line, let's use this blue color because it shows up better in this map. So if the line kind of does this, and this is the leading edge right here of the thunderstorms, this is called a bow echo. And usually on the bow echo is where you're going to find your damaging winds along this little bow. So if you ever see that in a radar reflectivity, say you're using my weather app, AT's Weather to Go, and you see it do like that, that's your bow echo, and you can expect some more damaging winds that come out of that little area. All right, last but not least, the rainfall. So some pretty decent rains here over central, southern, eastern Oklahoma with this. This particular model will try to guess where some of the heaviest amounts will be based off the tracks of the heavier cells. It's not going to be exact, but it gives you the idea that some places will see about an inch to maybe as much as 2 inches of rain, where you get some good heavy downpours. If you were to blend all the models together and just kind of give an overview of where the heaviest amounts of rain will be versus the lighter amounts, northwest Oklahoma, obviously not much going on out there, and then all the actions from central to eastern sides of the state. Temperatures, we're looking at a pretty good day tomorrow as far as readings go. Right about 80 degrees, a little bit more humid for you for tomorrow, and of course strong south wind. As we head into Wednesday though, remember that cold front that comes in will cool our temperatures down just a little bit, so a little bit more like an early spring day, and then we will kind of rebound a little bit over the next few days. Overnight lows still pretty chilly, probably a light freeze or frost for some of you Thursday morning. Otherwise, temperatures do get better and extended for overnight low temperatures back into the upper 40s here once we get past the weekend. And then daytime highs getting up to that San Diego weather, back up to around 70 degrees, which means a lot of your plants and vegetation should start to get a little on the excited side. I know some of you are going to start to want to plant early. You always do, and you have to bite it when we get a late season freeze. I haven't looked long term to see if we're going to get any late season freezes yet. I just focus on this short term since getting back from vacation. So we'll do that here a little bit later. All right, I believe I have covered everything. Let me peruse a couple of comments here. Let's see here. All right. By the way, again, thanks to you guys that are joining from Rumble right now and watching live. So this is what I do during the weather events when we talk about something of interest, right? So if it's tornadoes or snowstorms, whatever, I deal with that kind of deal. And then we talk about, or then we do actual live broadcasting of severe weather coverage once we get tornadoes that start to develop. Okay, so on Facebook, I see a ton of you sent me some stars tonight, so I appreciate you guys doing that. I always appreciate your support, whether it just be liking, sharing, signing up to be a Facebook subscriber or Patreon, or shoot me some stars, whatever you want to do. I love it all. Okay, let me see if we had any couple questions. Scroll through. Jody does a really good job at helping you guys out while I'm doing this live, since I can only multitask so much. Sherry does not want any more hail in Norman. I don't blame you. Let's see. So the good news is, Chris wants to know, which model do you rely on most? All of them. The AT model. Put them all in this basket right here, and I spit out the outcome. That's just the way it is. There's not one that's better than the other in every aspect, unfortunately. I wish they were. It'd make my job a lot easier, though. So AJ, yeah, if you ever get a message from my app that comes in like hours later or the next day, it means your cell tower that you ping got overloaded. And what they do is they'll eventually purge all their messages. And when that happens, sometimes you'll get a message that comes out of nowhere. So yeah, that happens on a rare occasion. Unfortunately, I can't control that because it's your cell phone provider that has that issue. Luckily, they don't have that issue that often. But sometimes, during big events or stressful events, the towers can get overloaded. So Ryan wants to know how much rain you think it will produce. So you must be late to the party, Ryan. Come on now. No, we did show the rainfall map indicating anywhere from about a ½ inch to an inch widespread across central and eastern Oklahoma. Some areas up to about 2 if you get some really good heavy thunderstorms that hang around for a while. And then as far as the actual individual tornado risk, everybody was had a few questions about that. Very, very low. So it's not zero. I do expect we're going to see a few of these, and they will be the Amber, same thing I'm talking you to. So this is going to be just those little QLCS, which I call baby tornadoes. It's still a tornado, but it's not a classic textbook supercell type. What's the main difference? And I should do a graphic about this, and I probably will at some point here, but quickly, a supercell storm is an isolated severe storm that rotates at low level to mid level and sometimes even upper level of the storm. Well, that column of rotating air is what helps produce that particular tornado. The difference is that can last a long time, and the tornado with it can be quite large, can be quite strong, and can last for even up to several hours. Now that's that issue. A QLCS type is not from that generation, but as a storm line moves through, there are little eddies that you can't see with the naked eye that get swirled up along the leading edge of the line. Call them little mini updrafts. And as they come up, they can spin up along the leading edge, and any one of those then can rotate fast enough to spin up briefly and produce a weak tornado. Most of them are right around a EF0 or EF1 category. So we're looking about 100 miles an hour or something like that in most cases. Rare will you see it to be an EF2, and I believe I think I recall an EF3 once that I saw, but that's a very rare. I think I've only seen that once, maybe even twice. So most of them are going to be in the 0 to 1, just because of the process in which they're developed. You have to get a really freaky environment to be able to get something stronger than that. So if you ever want one, or you have to deal with one, you want one of those kind versus the big ones from supercells. So yeah, Castillo, they're going to be a squall line down there for Dallas-Fort Worth. Rhonda, a tornado is a tornado to me. Yes, it is. You always want to seek shelter from a tornado regardless. And again, those folks that are late, that missed it earlier, I'll post a link to my Amazon store here on Facebook. You can go click that link out. You can pick up a discount for a NOAA Weather Radio like this one. This is the one that I got. It's the most popular one. Programmable, so you can use that in addition to my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It's free on Apple, Google Play. Just to make sure when you set it up, two things. It's annoying, but the Play stores or what you call the app stores continue to change privacy rules, which I understand because there's a lot of apps out there that don't need your details, right? Well, my app doesn't, but it gets caught in the big basket of that stuff. So you have to put allow always. For it to send data to you, and you might have to go to your phone settings to do that. So make sure it's allow always. In other words, it runs in the background, because those push notifications that I send out, if you have it streamlined to where it will only work if you open the app itself, you're not going to get the tornado warnings, and that's very important, obviously. So make sure you have it set to allow always, and if you do put your phone on D&D for do not disturb, make sure you have it set to override that function so it goes off for you if you're taking a nap or you're asleep or whatever, and that will help you out as well. Dustin, hail threat. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of hail with these storms. The models aren't overly excited with it, so what that typically means to me is that you're looking at a lot of marginal severe size hail, so a lot of 1-inch size hail totals. There'll probably be a few golf balls thrown in there somewhere, but other than that, most of them should behave the way things go. The best chance for any like big hailstones are probably early in the event, out across western Oklahoma with those high base storms that develop by around 8, 9 o'clock for about an hour. Then after that, they should come down in size. Let's see. So yeah, Ron, those radios are custom programmable, so only for your local area. So if I were to read you the back of this one, it says, easy programming to receive alerts for only your local area. Stay protected during power outages with battery backup. So there you go. So make sure you pick that one up as well. Okay, that's it for me. I've got a busy slam pack day for tomorrow, so I will not be able to do a Facebook Live for lunch. And I will be able to do one in the evening, but by then I might be in severe weather coverage mode. We'll see how it goes. It would be around 9 o'clock, 9:30, something like that. But I do expect storms to be developing by that point in time. Now keep in mind, I typically only cover live broadcasts when tornadoes look like they're going to be occurring or threatening. So when I do come on live during a tornado type event, that's usually bad news. You don't want to see me come on live, because that's what that means. I'm either expecting a tornado or pretty close to getting one. That's usually how I generate that stuff. Okay, well, that's it for me. I gotta get out of here. You guys have been great. Thanks again for your questions and for watching tonight. Be safe for tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. And we got a long spring ahead of us, so we'll talk soon. Take care.